Hello all, good morning. So welcome for this session of INDUS S4HANA community. So today's topic will be on S4HANA 2022. The subtopics will basically be on what's new with 2022, about intelligent enterprise, and strategy of SAP S4HANA, and evolution and roadmap. So we have with us today Henrik, who will just walk us through the various topics, and I'm handing it over to you, Henrik. If you can just start with a quick intro of yourself. And we can
Okay, thank you, Pavel, and welcome everybody. Henrik Gutjan, I'm part of the SAP S4HANA Customer Care Program from our product engineering side, and I will walk you, as mentioned, a little bit around the changes, the view we have around S4HANA moving forward, and again, sharing a little bit on what we have delivered with our last on-premise release 2022. I hope the slides are now working. Yes. Starting off with, I guess, a slide you have seen already several times. It's a standard slide we have been using in our presentations. And it is also to emphasize that at the moment, moving forward from a product engineering side, we continue on the messaging we have been providing over the past few years. Important in this whole context, while we of course will focus on SAP S4HANA, our intelligent business suite, that the business technology platform, which is at the bottom of the screen, plays quite a vital role in this roadmap and how we think and how we want to move forward. Because it is not just there as a sidekick, it is also there for us to really develop new capabilities, which are closely linked with our SAP S4HANA core solution. So this is quite important here on the picture, and also for you to understand, because we will come around how to move forward. What are things you need to consider when you are implementing, moving to SAP S4HANA, or while you are already on SAP S4HANA, and how to maybe leverage some of the new capabilities in a better way than some customers have done in the past. So this is really important for us because it plays part of the overall picture. Now, before I go in and talk about what is new, what have we delivered with the latest release, maybe a little reiteration, what have we done over the past few years? Where did we start our journey with SAP S4HANA? Where are we? What have we done? And again, I will then, after the slide, also come to another slide, which is similar, trying to highlight also a few things which have shifted over the time. So our journey started with the 15.11 release, the first real release of SAP S4HANA, where we had changed not just finance, which was an add-on before to SAP ERP, but really also started to change the logistics side. At that stage, we started with some of the capabilities. Just change my pointer. Oops, there's my mouse. There's my mouse. There. So we started to introduce the concept of a business partner. We started with what we then rolling out more and more with the embedded analytics. And of course, finance was one of the key things which we had done, of course, and moved into the solution itself, highlighting also Fiori as our UX approach. Key thing at that stage was that we took away what was called before HANA Live, because we are now really changing into our core data services. We also started to move some of the capabilities we had with other solutions into the core solution. Again, selective move. It's not a direct move that we have everything in there. It's really selective capabilities we have been moving across, and you will see a little bit more. With the next release, again, we started to then build upon that. We moved some of the capabilities or even solutions like EWM into the core solution of SAP S/4HANA, so that if you deploy it technically, the embedded EWM solution is available. Again, here highlighting some of the moves or some of the capabilities we transitioned from SAP supply chain management into the core. Key part, we really started to get our UX side a little more consistent. Again, something we have been building on, then also with all the other solutions across SAP. Again, everything we acquired over the past few years, so that from a look and feel perspective, again, users have a common experience. With the 1709 release, we started also to then have something with the predictive analytics. Again, the embedded analytics with insight to action as a new concept was introduced. We started with the concept also of Fiori overview pages for selected end users, managers, for example, in the purchase area, also then in the sales area, so that people, business users could get certain relevant information really very easy to consume and deep dive then into the relevant information. Key also with this release, we added TM, transport management, into the S/4HANA solution, which was before, of course, still represented with Elytra in terms of compatibility scope. And here we made then the strategic successor then available as part of SAP S/4HANA. Services is also something we then introduced because we moved capabilities from SAP CRM into S4. So as you can see at the moment with the first releases, we are really making quite a big change in terms of the architecture, adding new capabilities into the whole mix with EWM before, with TM, but also here at the bottom again with the cross capabilities in the solution itself. And that continues then with the 1809 release. We added some capabilities from CRM with their Salesforce support. We added capabilities in terms of central procurement, which was something we had in SAP SRM, so that I can start to connect one central system to multiple other systems and create a central procurement hub if I had multiple ERP solutions within my system landscape. SAP MDG is also something we added as part of the cross capabilities. So again, there's still some massive changes in terms of the underlying technical infrastructure taking place. With 1909, one of the key things we then started to look a little more closer at is the support of SAP S/4HANA from the hyperscaler side, so that you as a customer also got the option to really not just on-premise wise install SAP S/4HANA, but also then move your system into the cloud, supported then by the hyperscalers shown here on the slide, which of course then later on became also embedded with RISE, and I will show that on another slide because that was a little bit later. We also then changed or started on the Fiori side. Again, one of the key things to remember when moving to SAP S/4HANA, because the Fiori side, the new apps we are providing are a key essential part to consume the new innovations from an end user perspective, as well as for the developers to do things, or also for the consultants who are implementing the solution, where we have dedicated apps to do certain activities, for example, in the workflow area, so that the ownership from certain activities can also move more to the business side, rather than just needing to stay with IT, where it's then often maybe a little challenging in terms of understanding what is really needed. And then we just extended that, of course, 2021 we built out, in 2022. I will show that a little bit on the other slides again. This is then where we didn't have any major changes anymore as such. It is really more now starting to become a refinement of processes we have introduced over time. And again, I will show that on a different slide. So from the evolution, from the architecture, again, just a slightly different view of this. Again, what I mentioned before with 1511, again, a key part overall, the business partner concept, which was introduced. When I say introduced, actually this concept already existed in SAP ERP already for quite some time. Some of the solutions already used it. Here it's important to understand that this is now really the mandatory way to manage your customer and vendor master data, because it became now a unified entry point. But it is an essential part. With that also, again, on the finance space, with the unified ledger, material ledger, and very important, again, the CDS, with the core data services, as a very essential part of the change in the technology side. Again, we talked about HANA Live. Again, here you can see extended warehouse management again, advanced ATP, which we introduced as a new concept inside of SAP S/4HANA. Again, then the topic of intelligent technologies was introduced, trying to help the end users more, or to provide them some guidance. Sometimes there's an initial point, where do I need to spend my time on? What is the focus on? Where are issues which need my attention? Things like that, to bring that up and help the end users. Again, transport management, introduced services. We also then had EPPM, portfolio and project management. So again, building the foundation out over the time. Group reporting on the finance side, central procurement, so really more overarching capabilities. Again, you can see here again the support from hyperscalers was added into the mix. We, in 1909, while we had already a successor for warehouse management as such, which is part of the compatibility scope, we introduced, based on feedback, the concept of stockroom management. It's a new license, which is then a subset of warehouse management, allowing you as a customer to continue using the warehouse management capabilities and not make it mandatory to move then to EWM. Of course, that's still a possibility, but some customers again said us, we don't need that. For us, using this kind of approach is the best one. So that's what has been made available. We also then built new capabilities based on the new MRP concept and adding then capabilities like predictive MRP on top. With 2020, again, then we have extended service part management, direct deliveries, production plan optimizer. So again, new capabilities we added. And then, of course, with a major change, not from a functional perspective for SAP S/4HANA, but of course, with the way you can consume the new solution with the introduction of RISE with SAP. And again, here's some of the other innovations we had then introduced. with the 2021 release. Now, when we are looking at the future direction, and again, I will talk about that from slightly different angles. You can see here capabilities we had made available with the 2021 release. And also then what, of course, was that the process intelligence, BPI capabilities we have. We'll just build up this picture. We have also then released new capabilities, and you can see also a little bit on what we are planning to release over the new years. But important here is also that the way we are now providing some of these new capabilities. As I mentioned before, we have done quite a lot in terms of the infrastructure, meaning we have moved capabilities from EWM, TM, SAP CRM, SAP SRM, whatever we needed and wanted inside of the core, we have moved that technically into SAP S/4HANA, can be consumed. And this is really where we now think we have done really or set up the foundation for SAP S/4HANA. So there's not the need to really re-engineer really the underlying infrastructure. It is more now around adding new capabilities on what we have started. So this is, for example, what you can see then with value chain analysis. So we have introduced something for sales processes. We then plan to introduce something else for the procurement processes. So also in terms of if you do an upgrade from an earlier release, that you can also then, depending on the release you're going to, start to take certain pieces into the concept of the upgrade. So it's not just a technical upgrade. You can also then consume these new capabilities and make that step by step. So it's not a massive change which is coming in one go. You can consume these innovations then with each upgrade and add also value into the upgrade itself. So this is then what we are planning to do. We have done, for example, complex services on the procurement side. Here it's something what we're then building out with central procurement, and then planning again moving forward in terms of adding new capabilities. You will see that also on some of the coming slides, which is quite important, that we have now delivered HCM on SAP S/4HANA. So before we had also our HR solution, which was or is still part of the compatibility scope, meaning that this is something which can be used till the end of 2025. And then with the beginning of 2026, the usage rights of this solution do not exist anymore. Now, this is quite important because we got the feedback from customers that, again, they do not wish at this stage to move into the cloud. SuccessFactors still is our strategic go-to solution. That hasn't changed, but we are now offering customers a path forward to continue using HR capabilities within SAP S/4HANA. So this is then license change. It is also then a technical change to move from the existing HR on-premise HR solution to HCM on SAP S/4HANA. But it's now something which is really feasible to do. So again, a slightly different perspective around what we have done, what we have provided over the past years, and again, also then leading up into what have we done with the 2022 release. What I haven't mentioned before is that, of course, as part of SAP S/4HANA, we wanted to change a little bit the concept of the industry solutions, trying to make it easier to run multiple industry solutions within one ERP system. One of the first steps was here that certain capabilities here with discrete industries are actually now part of the foundation of SAP S/4HANA. So it's something which we noticed while it has an industry focus, that a lot of industries were actually using it, regardless if it was really a perfect fit. But these processes really were done by many other customers as well. So that's why we, again, established starting to put these industries in, trying to align them and build this out. With the second wave, again, we started to add also a little bit more capabilities. Again, these are just selected ones. There were more innovations we provided. Again, key ones with Fiori, with a consistent user experience as a starting point and concept, which is then broadened also to our cloud solutions, so that there's really one look and feel. I can find the information where I need to click, where I need to maybe find information for myself, where I need to make my own changes to really make this a consistent approach. Mentioned extended warehouse management before. Again, we had now retail and fashion was added. And again, we also have here, for example, IS Oil as a solution, which was added into the mix. As well, at the same time, starting with real-time inventory and evaluation. So again, step by step, building out the capabilities we have made available. Core thing we did with the 1709, with the third release, was that we needed to make sure that we still support core service capabilities. And the decision was at that point to move the functionality we had with SAP CRM into the S/4HANA solution. At this stage, with this release, it was technically an add-on. So we took the solution, moved it inside of S4. Important here is that it is not a one-to-one. So it's not that we have just taken SAP CRM and now everything of SAP CRM is available as part of S4. We made a decision on which capabilities CRM was stronger, where was the former ERP solution or now SAP S/4HANA stronger, and then those are the capabilities which survived, and then we have moved and expanding on. So this is really to ensure that services can be handled during the sales processes. And again, that helped us also to eliminate certain things with the middleware concept we had before, not needed. So technically we cleaned it up. We could harmonize the data models. Again, it's one common data model. There are no changes, no differences. So less of technical conflicts, which may have existed in the past. We also then have central master data, what we added, and we're also now highlighting here a little bit more the data migration cockpit. So this is now the way to import data, initial data into SAP S/4HANA, important for greenfield projects, because this is now the supported way. We had before, of course, the transaction LSMW to import data into the system. Technically, that's still there. And I want to highlight here that this is not supported. There are actually notes out there that the support ended with the 15.11 release. So this is now the really supported way moving forward. We highlighted here again with the initial cleanup, we added now predictive analytics, again with transport management being added, We did data harmonizations. So again, all these cleanups, all these things which had to be done as initial part, making these capabilities available, and also defining the way forward for our strategic solutions. With the 1809 release, again, we started, for example, here, overview pages were added with the concept we had provided before, or started with procurement. We started then to build out new capabilities with mixed pallets, with carrier invoices through the SAP logistics network. So we started to tie up also some of our cloud solutions, the networks especially, into the mix, into the business processes, so that capabilities which do not make sense just to have it isolated in one system, where it comes to collaboration, integration with others, that we started to build out also these kind of integrations. The focus also then became a little bit more on the Fiori apps. Again, new innovations are provided with Fiori, meaning that it's important that we also, of course, build this out. Customer management is what we had before as the add-on. So this technically was removed, being a technical add-on. It's really now embedded into the solution. With that also came a new name, which is now the customer management, which is our services core capability inside of SAP S/4HANA. With the 1909 release, again, starting to provide new capabilities with the financial planning content, environment management being part of the focus now a little more. Again, building or extending capabilities in the transport management area, in extended warehouse management. Again, here focus on enhancing the user experience with providing new Fiori apps. And again, here important, as I mentioned before, a new Fiori app does not mean that it's a one-to-one match with the SAP GUI. That's very important because we want to provide new capabilities, give end users a different way of dealing with the system, handling it. Also building out then, of course, new industry capabilities, specifically here for banking, or here also for the utilities area. With the 2020 release, again, building out more and more around the new concepts, new capabilities, which we have. So you will always see that we have more Fiori apps, which are then being provided, streamlining processes here around the services with the in-house repair processes. So rethinking how things are done on the sales side, as I mentioned before, as an example, in terms of networks, getting a tighter integration here in this example, what we called at that time the Ariba network. Now it's all part of our SAP business networks. So namings, of course, change at SAP as well, something I guess you are familiar with. We also have then advanced availability to promise. So we build our capabilities, which we had before, quality management as well. So again, we're adding new capabilities in all the different areas. This. Risk and compliance in the finance area, something which then was extended with the 2021 release. We built in the procurement area then also more integrations here, a native integration, so that directly communication between SAP S/4HANA and the Ariba network is possible. So that also these things are getting easier to integrate, simpler to set up. You can see that there's, of course, also more focus now on the different industries, on retail, in this example, automotive, public sector, to add new capabilities, also specifically for industries, so that these areas are also strengthened. The other areas, again, transport management, where we have new Fiori apps to manage, for example, freight agreement by RFP master, collaboration Fiori apps. So really to build out a key topic here also, something we are talking about. You saw also on the first slide around sustainability. So here carbon dioxide reduction calculations. So how can I design my route to transport things to my customers, to others, and reduce also my footprint, which is becoming more and more of a discussion for customers, for businesses nowadays, because you need to report on that in various markets. Again, also building out extended warehouse management, again, Fiori apps integrations is something which is quite important. And again, with having done all these initial technical settings, building out the integrations, which they will then stand, is an important factor for us. With that, we're coming to the 2022 release. Again, for us, it is not about really making lots of technical changes as such. It's really now about adding new capabilities on top. Saying that, there's a little bit, of course, we still need to do. I will come to that on one of the next slides. But a key thing, and I hope I just had to do that today, trying to highlight a little bit with the bluish color. I might have missed something, or maybe also incorrectly added something. Trying to highlight again the factor of Fiori also here, or changes to the UI on the side of innovations we are providing. Here with also changing Gantt chart capabilities, again, with embedding barcode scanning in Fiori apps, a discussion or question we had quite a few times from customers over the past few years. So these are really focus areas for us to really ensure that the usability of the system becomes a key focus, that it makes it easier for new people to adopt the solution, but also then to make it easier to decide how to consume the information. Is it still via PC? Is it on a smartphone? Is it on a tablet? And also therefore align better to the work environment of the individual end users. Again, key thing, what I mentioned before, human resources, because that is now really the solution to move forward with in terms of staying on premise, if that's what you wish. Of course, there's also a gradual way to our strategic solution in the cloud with success factors, which is a key point for us for innovations. But this solution, of course, HCM on SAP S/4HANA is something which has a future, as we announced it a while ago. Again, giving customers the choice on how you want to run your business, on how you want to ensure that you can manage the security of the data. Now, let's take a look into some examples on what we have provided with the 2022 release. So here it's around the sales order management process, and it's in the area of artificial intelligence. So in this view, you can see that there's a PDF document, there's certain information, and this needs to be taken over into the system to ensure that I can really have all the relevant information I received in this example here with the PDF document taken over into my system. Is that all matching So this is really helping me as an end user, because the system does the initial matching. I can then just do a little check. Is really everything there? So that means I can also take a look here on the highlighted details and click on that and see a little bit interactive what is really working. So that really gives you a side-by-side view of the extracted data, and that should increase the Salesforce efficiency, the accuracy of the data. And that's the Fiori app, which we mentioned here, create sales orders, automatic extraction. Again, as an end user, for me, it's just really looking at this and double checking, has everything really worked? So that should help the end user with their business. Another thing is, of course, the data insights. I mentioned before with embedded analytics, and there also where Fiori plays then quite an important role, that I can have my analytical view, I can also have my transactional view in one screen. Now here we made a new CDS view, so core data service available, which gives the end user the ability to really look at the scheduled plans and therefore give me as an end user, if I need to, better availability to drag information around, to filter, to design also the world a little bit on what I need to do. So that pre-defined global filters, which are made available, but I, as an end user, have the information to change that and to really make this view of the world the way I need to. So this is what should hopefully, as a benefit, enable the maintenance planners, the supervisors, to really identify metrics and how many maintenance orders here of the type W802 are created, to give really the insight also around overall blocks. So also to try to help make things more proactive, so that I can get information what needs to be looked after, rather than just reacting to certain things which happened. And I can then access these reports with preset fillings if I want to. So that's quite an important thing. Again, data insight is a key thing for end users. Again, data insights are here as well. Here, an example from the finance area with the entity close. Again, a key thing where the finance department is often asked to very quickly, of course, close the books. Ideally, there should not be any issues. Mistakes should be taken care of. So there's now a new advanced valuation solution available, which hopefully helps with the integrated postings, with the consumption techniques to speed up the period end closing activities, helping in the area of advanced foreign currency valuation, discounting of long-term assets, the credit risk-based impairment, and post-BS reclassifications. So here really the valuation as a framework for the valuation processes, help with the post of value changes as delta to previous runs. Again, help to establish a link between the valuation journal entry and the original journal entry, and again, closing that, helping to automate or to give the users the required insights. Another item here is around the environment management, where we provided a new Fiori app. So this is then something helping me to set up additional workflows. So there's a mask here where certain information is then filled into. Again, for example, what we have here for greenhouse gases, including specific reportings, so that this is being captured, and that this also helps you then to streamline, for example, how environmental reports can be managed, the workflow planning, the tracking, the reporting, and again, deliver then solution greenhouse gases reports. Here's a standard example for your corporate greenhouse reporting. And the last example is here with the extended product engineering. So here you can see when we're looking at processes that we are trying to enrich in this example, the shop floor routines based on third-party routings, so that we are here now enabling new capabilities with the receipt of third-party manufacturing, use of information from the production integration portal, and automation of enrichment of floor shop routines to help here the project engineers to expedite the creation of shop floor routings and to improve the transparency of the shop floor routings which are affected. So again, helping users rethinking how certain things can be done and be more efficient. Just another look on S4. So we do have always our core component, so our enterprise management solution. Again, here highlighting the different areas of procurement, sales, finance. And what is important here when you see some slides of that is that the capabilities which are sitting usually as part of the standard S/4HANA license, that is part of this a little bit darker grayish area. So these are here examples which are sitting inside of S4. We then have a specific line of business solutions. Technically, they are also part of SAP S/4HANA, but these often require additional licenses. And then we have more in the white space capabilities, which are really sitting in some of our other solutions. Here in the buy area, for example, in Ariba, in Concur, or in Fieldglass. On the people side, we have here also then highlighting like success factors or Fieldglass, again, where certain capabilities are sitting, again, also in the maintenance space or in the supply chain space. We do have, of course, some solutions like IBP sitting in as a cloud solution and being available. Extended warehouse management, again, technically part, but some of these capabilities are advanced capabilities, which we have also here highlighted, and therefore sitting sometimes also in different solutions. Especially extended warehouse management, you can consume that as an embedded solution or as a side-by-side solution. Both are strategic and are trying to cater for different needs for the business end users. With that, also trying to come back to what I mentioned before. I touched on a few times the compatibility scope. While we have the plan how to move forward, it is also then important for you to understand, or maybe to reiterate, what is happening with our SAP S/4HANA solution. So we still have, or still the compatibility packs with the usage rights are still there. You can still consume it. We have made clear that really at the end of 2025, these capabilities, usage rights will expire. We noticed, especially for these three capabilities, for Elytra, CS for services, for PPPI, the process industry, that there are lots of developments around these solutions, extensions. So we want to give you as a customer more time to make the transition from these solutions to the strategic solutions moving forward, again, for Elytra transport management. So these have been extended for another few years, giving you the time again to do the transition. Important here at the end of 2020-30, where these things then from a usage rights perspective really expire, there's no transition phase. So there's really, this will be cut off. Even if there's still old things still sitting in here, you must have made the transition before that. Key thing, you will see that also on the next slides when I talk about it. Again, for us, core is now to make sure that all the compatibility packages, the capabilities, have a genuine solution with SAP S/4HANA, or sometimes outside, but that there is a solution available, strategic solution moving forward. On this slide is also the link to the announcement, which we made again last year to clarify this. Okay. Now, with this, again, while we just want to reiterate the terms with the compatibility scope, we now delivered the 8th release, the 8th wave of S4. And with that, we also thinking that with the next release, we really have now a more stable core. Again, I've already mentioned that we have done the homework in terms of making the changes from a technology perspective, and that now we are focusing more on the innovation side. This means also we are changing from a yearly release cycle to a 2-year release cycle. What that means is also that we now will ship 3 feature packages with a new release rather than 2. And when we are honest, the first feature package, we really had lots of new features. The second was very limited in terms of the capabilities, the additional capabilities we shipped. That's something we want to change. With that, you can see here the next release, the planned 2023 release, is then the last one in terms of the yearly cycle, and the first one where we then start with a 2-year cycle. In this picture here, again, we will ship the 3 feature packages, and then we will have a 5-year maintenance cycle. Which also means, again, here we are moving from 5 actually to 7 years of maintenance. So you get a little more time in terms of the upgrades. Important with this is that we have the customers using 1709, 1809, or 1909, because we think, again, the 2023 release is now really the go-to release. It's really the starting point of this transition to have a stable core and then add innovations over time into the system and then start to consume it. So we have extended the maintenance for these 3 releases, make it easier to move to the 2023 release, because otherwise you would have needed to do another upgrade and then very soon after another one. I will show that on the next slide. Please also note here the information around what is included with RISE. There's no additional fees with the other. For all other customers, there is an additional fee to use this extended maintenance. So that just as a slightly different view, as you can see here with the 1709, actually for those customers, the maintenance ended end of last year. You now have the ability to stay and therefore to move to the 2023 release, which is planned for Q4 this year. And again, for the other 2 releases here as well, so that really you have an option to move to this core basis release. And you can then see also here the extended timeline with the innovation cycles, with the 3 feature packages, and then with the maintenance, standard maintenance of the solution. Important because we talk always about clean core, also taking advantage of these new capabilities and transition, that you try really to keep your system clean. Again, greenfield, I think that's very clear on how that really works. For customers coming from brownfield, this is a little bit of more of a challenge because you potentially bring all your legacy code with you. Now, we have a new service, intelligent custom code management, so that we try with the code which exists today. Again, these are loose transports, not necessarily easy to identify what does this code belong to. Is it finance? Is it just is it procurement? Is it a mix? And there is now this new concept, so that we can basically re-engineer the coding, custom coding you have to understand, do I really still use that code? Do I still really need it? So I could, for example, retire that code without harming anything else. I can also then understand what can I best do with this? Rethink, again, redesign. Is it something which maybe can live better on BTP? So it also allows me then to clean up my core solution to make it also simpler to consume new innovations. And this is then in line on what we had mentioned mentioning already for a little bit of time. Again, ignore a little bit here the cloud at the moment, but it's something where we said you should ideally not do too much developments inside of your S/4HANA system. Use the standard capabilities and do innovations otherwise on SAP BTP. Now, that's of course easier said than done, because if you have a lot of custom code in your S/4HANA system, again, with the service I mentioned before, it can already help you to take the first step. And this is also what we now introduced with SAP S/4HANA 2020. We had a concept already in the public cloud, what we introduced, what we call the embedded steampunk. So this is now something also which is available in S/4HANA, where you can build your custom programs really in a cloud-based model, where you're using the standard APIs. It's capsulated, so you can take this now step by step in terms of looking at the code. Again, with the service mentioned before, I can take a look, okay, what can I do? How can I translate this code I have at the moment into more a cloud vision of the code? Again, still doing these processes which you rely on, and then maybe decide at one point in time, do I still keep it in my S/4HANA system, or can I now move that out, for example, on the SAP BTP platform, so that again, I can do this transition over time. So that hopefully also helps to, again, with upgrades, which some customers actually do already on a yearly basis, very limited, but there are customers doing that, and helping you then also to consume new innovations. And I think I'm very much, that's my last slide. I don't know if there are any questions at the moment. I think we have 2 or 3 minutes left.
Hi, this is Mukesh here. Quick question, is this embedded steampunk already available for customers to build on, or is this something which is still planned?
No, this is with the 2022 release, this is now available. It's just if you have an older release, you could not use it, but with the new release, yes, it's available.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions for Paul?
I know it was quite a lot.
Okay, so looks like there are no further questions. So maybe Paul, do you want to close? You're on mute if you're saying something, Paul.
I'm sorry, I've been speaking on mute. So that was really a nice session. I happened to learn about this, the embedded steampunk thing. So this was something which I was also not aware of. And about the clean core is something which now is going to be the buzzword going forward. We'll be having further more sessions continuing this year on the new innovations which have come as a part of 2022. Thanks everyone for joining this call. And yeah, we can just go ahead and close the call, Mukesh. That was it. You want to kick on a poll, Mukesh, before we close, or?
Sorry?
We'll launch the poll?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Please do provide your feedback, and then we can close. Please do share your feedback by answering the poll, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so we are already a minute over the time that we had for today. Thanks, everyone. Have a great week ahead.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Henrik, for coming in at the last moment and giving a great session here.
Thank you for having me.
That.
Hope it helped.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.